Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, November the 10th of 2025. The time is 1:01, and I would like to call the Henry County Board of Elections and Voter Registration meeting and the certification meeting to order. This is a joint meeting which is for certification and our regular board meeting. Would you please stand for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? And Ms. Board Member Crumley will lead us in the prayer.
Let us pray. Father God, thank you for another day of life, health, and strength. Thank you for the seasons changing, Lord. Just like they change, we know you are never changing. You're the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We thank you for that promise and covenant that we have with you. And bless our work today, Lord. May it be pleasing to you. May we be pleasing to those in the county. May we do your work according to the best of our abilities. Bless and sanctify us, Lord, for your service. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. For those who are watching on Facebook and other means, you may have noticed that I elected to salute the flag. I'm a veteran, and this month, in honor of veterans, I decided that I would actually salute the flag as opposed to placing my hand over my heart. I would also like to say thank you for Vice Chair Lee Hawkins, who also served in the military, and all veterans, we thank you for your service. At this time, I would like for all board members to take a look at the agenda that has been provided for us, and then we will see if there are any additions to the meeting other than those that I have. And I'll wait before going over those. Does any other board member have any items to add to the agenda?
None.
Okay. Board members, I would like to add 2 items to the agenda. The first being under new business item C. This is recognition of formal board members. Previously, you were sent a copy of the bylaws and also the proposed resolution for us to recognize those board members in the month of December. But based upon the bylaws, we must vote on that. Therefore, I would like to add that to the agenda today. The second item, which would be item number D, would be to discuss the open vacant appointee position for the board. And those are the only 2 items. So could I get a motion? Well, I motion to add 2 items to the board. Item C, under new business for recognition of formal board members, and item D, to discuss the vacant appointment position on the board. May I get a second?
Second that, Chair.
It has been first and seconded that we add those items to the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstain? The motion carries. The next item up for discussion is the acceptance of the board meeting minutes for September the 10th of 2025 and October the 9th of 2025. I'll give you an opportunity to review those minutes.
Chair, I move that the minutes are accepted as presented.
It's been first, a motion that we accept the board minutes as presented for September the 10th and October the 9th. Can I get a second? Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is therefore carried. Next item on the agenda is the director's report. Madam Director.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, members of the public. Thank you for being here today for the certification of the November 4th, 2025 general special election. So certification is a process by which officials sign off on the completion of the election results. So that's one of the reasons why we're here today. State law has long established that officials have a mandatory, non-discretionary duty to certify the election results. So before we get to the election summary, official and complete, I just want to go over in detail, because I know our office has had a few calls in regards to recounts and why they couldn't vote for a particular candidate. And, you know, if a candidate actually had higher votes in one precinct versus another precinct, why did they not win that election? So I'm going to go over just a little bit in detail as to, I don't know, I just want to explain this for the voters. So if you look at the mayor of Hampton, now that was an extremely close race, right? So you've got Mr. Cleveland at 48.8%, and you've got Ms. Tarpley at 51%. You got a 774 votes and 812. So pretty close, but remember, state law requires that to be within 0.5%. Before 2020, it was 1%. So that was changed, so now it's 0.5%. So within the city of Hampton, there are two precincts. You have Southampton and Northampton. So this is where it can be tricky for a candidate. As you can see in the Southampton precinct, Mr. Cleveland had a percentage of 52.68% with the highest number of 491 votes, as opposed to Ms. Tarpley with 441. If you look at Northampton, you see that Mr. Cleveland had 283 versus Ms. Tarpley with 371. Those two precincts combined is where you get your final total, going back to the original of 812 versus 774. So obviously Ms. Tarpley, because that is not within the 0.5%, is the winner there. If we look on to the city council member for the city of Hampton, we can see this is a vote for 3. So candidates could vote for voters could vote for 3 candidates on this one office. So as you can see, it looks like Melissa Brooks, who is this, Sherry Cheney, and Errol Mitchell were your top 3 candidates. So those are your winning candidates. And the same thing applies here. You've got 2 precincts within Hampton, Southampton and Northampton. So you can see the highest turnout here. Remember, we're looking at 3 because it's a vote for 3 here. Mayor of McDonough, you have Cam Varner and Sandra Vincent. As you can see, Ms. Varner has a 55% turnout, with Ms. Vincent 44%, a little over 44. And once again, we break these precincts down. You take all the precincts, the city precincts that make up McDonough, and you can see the voter turnout per precinct. And I'm not going to go through every one of these in detail, but I want everybody to take a look. And if you have questions, you can ask those questions. And in Westside, Lowe's, and Wesley Lakes, you clearly see Ms. Varner takes the lead there, along with the precinct of McDonough, Eastlake, and Shiloh. Let me get back. Was I correct in that? No, it looks like Ms. Vincent took McDonough. Let me correct myself. So Oakland, Miss Varner, Lake Dow, Miss Vincent, and Lake Haven, Miss Vincent. McDonough Central, Varner took the lead on that. All right, so then you look at the city council for McDonough. You had Miss Frazier and Vanessa Thomas. And you can see the percentages over to the side and the vote count. Miss Thomas took the lead on this. And once again, if you look at the precincts here, they're broken up by precincts and the total number of votes. It's Lake Haven and McDonough Central. Same thing with council member. You see Omega Finney and James Xavier Johnson. James Xavier Johnson took the lead on this with a little over 56%. And you can see where it's broken up within the precincts and the vote counts. Locust Grove, once again, that's a vote for 3. So once again, the voters have the option to vote for 3 candidates. And the precincts within Lowe's are Locust Grove, Lowe's, Unity Grove, and Grove Park. Mayor of Stockbridge, you had Mr. Ford and Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams took the lead with a little over 53%. You can see the total number of votes. And those precincts consist of Red Oak, Hickory Flat, Stockbridge East-West, Stagecoach, Cotton Indian, Pates Creek, Flippin, and Stockbridge Central, and Dutchtown. And for Council Member District 1, Stockbridge, looks like Lakeisha Gant took the lead with that. And the precincts that make up District 1 are Red Oak, Pates Creek, Council Member District 2 for Stockbridge, Mr. Cloud took the lead with 67.7%. And you can see that Red Oak, Stockbridge East-West, Stockbridge Central voted for that district. All right, so if we move on, another fun fact. So voter turnout on election day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can see we started out a little bit lower, right? And then by the time we hit 3 o'clock, we started moving up. Voters started really coming out to vote. And then by 5 o'clock, that was our highest peak. So that's when you saw your voters really coming out to vote on election day. And then again, 6 o'clock, we're still even with about 4 o'clock. So right in this area is our peak voting time. And then we started decreasing. So by 6:45, 7 o'clock, we're really coming down. Another fun fact, no wait time. So that's awesome. And I know I showed this same diagram on Friday, but it's worth showing again. So voter turnout by age groups, we can see that 55 to 59 took the lead on that with a little over 5,000 voters. And then it looks like age group 60 to 64 was right there with the 50 to 54-year-old age group. And then we had the 50 to 54. So those looks like 50 to 64, 65 are our biggest turnout. But I am impressed with the 35 to 39 and especially the 18 to 24. That's really good for the younger voters to have a turnout like that on election day. So this is the official and complete summary report, and board members, you'll have a copy of this report in your folder. This is the final report that we transmit to the Secretary of State's office. If you were here on Friday for our board meeting, you would have noticed that the provisional section would have had 0 there because the board has to approve the provisional ballots, and then we go back and generate a new report to transmit. So now you'll see a total of 12 provisional ballots that were counted on Friday.
Madam Director,
Yes, sir.
I just had a quick question regarding the provisional ballots.
Yes, sir.
I think we had 12 provisional ballots, but if my memory serves me correctly, there were 4. Okay,
Yes.
just wanted to make sure.
There were 4,
Okay.
and I believe they were registered in Fulton, DeKalb, one other
Rockdale.
county, and one voter voted early voting, so that election day ballot did not count.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just didn't hear
Yes.
that part, so I wanted to say, well, hold on, let me just make sure I reconcile my own
Yes.
numbers in my mind.
You are correct.
Okay,
So, Chair, let me clarify that. One person was registered in 3 different counties.
Separate people. We had
Separate.
one voter who voted a provisional here in Henry County, but after we researched, we realized that person was registered in Fulton County. And another person, same situation, but registered in DeKalb. And I apologize, I cannot remember the other county. Putnam, thank you. Putnam County, and then the other person had voted here in Henry County during early voting, but then tried to vote again on election day, so
Thank you.
you're welcome. So this is a copy of the official and complete report, and at this time, I will announce the winners of the election. So, Public Service Commission District 2, we had Alicia M. Johnson, 33,039. Public Service Commission District 3, Peter Hubbard, 32,918. Mayor of Hampton, we have Ann Tarpley with 812. Council member for the city of Hampton, remember those are vote for 3, so they will be your top 3 candidates here. It's going to be Melissa Brooks, that's going to be Sherry Cheney, and Errol Mitchell. Mayor of McDonough, Kamali Cam Varner with a total of 2,839. Councilmember McDonough at large, vote for 1. Vanessa W. Thomas, who is the incumbent, 2,782. Councilmember District 1, McDonough, vote for 1. James Xavier Johnson with a total of 444. Councilmember District 2, McDonough, vote for 1. We've got Jamal Burt, who's also the incumbent. Councilmember District 4, McDonough, vote for 1. We have Larry Blue with a total of 1,071. Councilmember Locust Grove, vote for 3. So once again, that's going to be your highest 3 totals, which is Lester D. Clark, who is an incumbent, Willie Taylor, who was an incumbent, and Sharon Henderson Duncan with 824. Mayor of Stockbridge, vote for 1. We have Jaden L. Williams with a total of 2,909. Councilmember District 1, Stockbridge, vote for 1. We have Lakeisha Gant, who is an incumbent, with a total of 1,032. Councilmember District 2, Stockbridge, vote for 1. We have Antoine Cloud for a total of 473. That's that. And the certification packets, let me go back really quick here. So now I'm going to give out the consolidated municipal and county certification packets. This is for the board to sign off on the results that were just read. Yes, see.
We signed just the top copy, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And these are for all the municipalities.
Okay.
And that concludes the certification portion of the meeting.
All right, thank you, Madam Director. We would like to congratulate all of the winners, and also to the voters. We greatly appreciate your turnout, which we believe was some historic records that was made. We'll be getting that information to you at a later time, whether that is in fact the case. But thank you so much for turning out and voting. And again, congratulations to all of the individuals who won. The next item of business will be old business. At this time, we do not have any, so we'll move on to new business. And the first item is the alignment of board areas of focus. Madam Director, were you able to include those two slides that I sent over earlier?
No, I was
Okay.
not. I apologize.
No worries. So to the public and also to the board members, the board has responsibilities that is very extensive. We have a code book that is probably somewhere around 2.5, 2.25 inches thick, that we are responsible for knowing the codes and ensuring that those are enacted. There is only a certain number of us. And so what we attempted to do is, or I attempted to do, is to align things so that every board member will have some line of sight, but it provides strategic focus for specific board members to do certain tasks. This was not included in the presentation so that you could see it on Facebook, but what we will do is we will make this document available for the public. So as an example, the areas of focus would be elections and logistics. This would be ensure that we conduct fair and efficient elections to meet legal standards, verify candidate information, ensure the training of the staff, and make sure that the voters are informed. The next chevron would be election security and integrity. And it would protect the election integrity through legal compliance, candidate vetting, staff security training, and the transparent communication throughout the election process. The third would be voter registration management. ensure a fair and compliant election process through legal adherence, candidate verification, staff training, and clear public communication. The next chevron would be voter education and outreach, and it's to deliver clear, legally compliant, and nonpartisan voter education by training staff, informing the public, ensuring access to accurate candidate and election information. And the last chevron would be election audit and reporting. Ensure accurate and lawful elections outcomes through rigorous audits, candidate verification, staff training, and transparent reporting. Now that gets further divided. As an example, under voter registration management, when we have all of the different legislative matters that comes from the General Assembly, that individual would be responsible for monitoring those, working with the county attorney to ensure that we have an understanding of those, not only for us, but for also the director and the staff. The election planning and logistics. As we know, we have quite a bit of regulatory things that come out as well from the state election board. So that individual would be monitoring those and taking that information, make sure it's disseminated. Our cases, we have all the details. We make sure that we're very thorough with our responses so that the board is protected. Voter education and outreach. We know that we have multiple elections where candidates are qualifying. There are cases where this office will qualify candidates, and then there's cases where political parties will qualify candidates. It's making sure that everyone is operating on one accord, regardless of where they're qualifying, and to make sure that we remain compliant at all times. Another example would be for election security and integrity. This would make sure that regardless of whether it was a legislative item, it was an SEB item, or whether something came up during our training on qualifications, that we train our staff to include our poll workers and poll managers on those requirements. And the last one, election auditing and reporting. It's just to ensure that the staff and everybody is trained as in terms of making sure that our numbers are accurate and we do all of our work with the highest degree of integrity and that can be viewed by the public. So it's nothing strenuous, I would say, that any of us would be required to do. Again, it would just be placing areas of focus so that we make sure that we cover everything. That does not mean that one individual couldn't say, well, I want to understand what's going on with the legislation and get involved in that. They could. But when we talk about and look at it from a board perspective, we're going to be looking at the one individual who's taken on that assignment. So I think this is definitely going to put us in a position, hopefully, to set the standard of how perhaps boards should be organized going forward. But it's going to build on the great work that the Madam Director has already been doing, along with Executive Director Sanyo, and also with the new Assistant Director and the staff that's coming on board. So I'll pause this time. Board members, I know that's been circulated for a time period, but I'll pause to see if you have any questions or comments. Just for the board, sorry.
Oh, okay.
We'll appreciate that. We'll give you an opportunity to sign up for public comments if you like.
Okay, this is my first time. So
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Chair, I think this is excellent and past time to implement for us. I'm just excited about this. We'll answer a lot of questions that the board members have had here before.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chair, I also believe that this is a great idea to provide the opportunity to provide operational aspects for the board and to be clear on what training needs are needed. to what needs to be in place. And I'm certain there's gonna be a lot more room for discussion as we look at delineating these tax and duties.
Yes, most definitely. All right, excellent. So this is just for informational purpose. It does not require a vote from the board or anything. We just want to be transparent in things that we are doing so that the public understand that we are still continuing to try to get better and better at executing our duties. So the next item on the agenda is we want to look at our proposed schedule for 2026. At this time, the board will not be voting on the schedule. We will actually vote on the schedule during our December meeting, but we want to make sure that we give the public and also the board members an opportunity to understand the dates and the times that we're looking at for 2026 so that we can make any changes during our December meeting. So I'll turn it back over to Madam Director.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so like Chair said, this is a proposed 2026 meeting schedule. If you look in the left-hand column, these are the meetings for the SEB. That's the State Election Board. That's the dates that they have set on their calendar that all the SEB meetings will take place. If you look in this column, State Election Calendar, this is the calendar that the Secretary of State's office has sent to us and to all counties, letting us know when there could possibly be an election, when an election could potentially take place. Now, that does not mean that Henry County will have an election on all of these dates that are listed. Currently, our board meets on these dates in this column. My recommendation to the board are the dates that are in this column, and my reasoning is why. So, as of right now, Henry County does not expect a March 2026 election unless something changes, which could always happen. So I am proposing that we meet on March 23rd, because if we were to have an election, we know that the certification, just like today, has to take place before 5 o'clock. So that is my reasoning for March 23rd. That would be certification and a regular board meeting, and also have the meeting take place at 3 to eliminate having 2 meetings. All right, so if we move forward, hopefully we will not have an April, but we know that if we have a March, there's a possibility we could have an April runoff. We know we're going to have a May 19th. The entire state is going to have a May 19th election. So May 25th is the required certification, so the current board meeting date would be, May 25th would be our recommended date here. June 16th, most likely we'll probably have a runoff, just to put that out there. I'm recommending June 22nd for the required certification date. The quarterly meeting takes place at 3, and the election must be certified by 5 o'clock that day. Current board meeting is supposed to take place July 1st. I'm recommending July 8th based on the fact that it's July 4th week. A lot of people are out of town that week, so I'm recommending the July 8th. We move down to September 2nd. That is our current board meeting. Nothing has changed with that date. It's a quarterly meeting at 5 o'clock, and the board meeting could be at 6. Working session at 5, board meeting at 6. November 3rd, we know the entire state will have an election that day, so we are proposing to meet November 9th, which is a required certification date. There's always the possibility for a runoff, which would be, the certification date would be December 7th, so we are proposing that the regular board meeting along with that certification meeting of December 7th. And also a quarterly meeting that would take place at 3 and certification by 5.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
Madam Director, I greatly appreciate your effort in putting that together, and I apologize that I did not note this before.
Yes.
But I kindly request that you go back and look at May 25th.
Okay,
That is going to be Memorial Day.
Ah,
It's a
gotcha.
holiday. And I apologize that I didn't catch that earlier. But we're not going to be voting on it until next month.
that's okay.
So, okay.
I will look at that again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, also just for the public, once we get these dates solidified, then the board will also, actually myself and the vice chair will make a decision working with the attorney and the director when the leadership team will meet. Myself and the vice chair meets with the county attorney and the director to talk about the operations, staffing, any items that we got out there with SEB and different things of that nature. With those meetings, we can only have 2 board members, because if we had 3 board members when there is 5, we would have a quorum, and that would be in violation of the Open Meetings Act. Okay? Are there any questions for Madam Director regarding our proposed 2026 meeting schedule? So board members, if you would definitely take that, Attorney Brown, take that back to the county attorney. You guys have your discussions, and then we'll make that decision at our December meeting. So the next item would be item C that was added, and it was to be recognition of former board members of the board. And so what you have in your packet is an excerpt from our bylaws. It's page 8 that outlines the requirements for recognizing a former board member. And basically, the purpose of the award is to present, the board presents awards to recognize board members for their service to our county. The awards reflect their contribution, their commitment, and the execution of their duties while they serve, and they did so in excellence and honor and also with integrity. We also look at things such as leadership, commitment to excellence, commitment to the voters, and innovation and the initiatives that they worked on. The board members that I would like to recommend, make a motion that we recommend would be first, would be our former board member and chair, Deidre Collins. And you also have in front of you a draft of the resolution that we will work on to present during our December meeting. And I'll give you an opportunity to reflect over that so that you understand, if you were not a part of the board at that time, that Ms. Collins was a member of the board, that you have a recollection of her contributions. And after you do that, I would take a second, if I could, please.
I second your motion to honor the former board members Deirdre Collins and Omega Finney for their meritorious service.
Okay, Board Member Crumley, we're going to do them one at a time, if that's okay.
Sure, excuse
So
me.
if I can get a second just for Board Member Collins first, please.
I second that for board member Collins.
Okay. It has been first and seconded that we recognize Board Member Collins for her contributions to this board. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. The next person would be Board Member Finney. She also served for a term of 4 years as a board member and chair during her tenure. There's a draft resolution that was also presented to outline her contributions and what would be presented based upon some additional refinement if you guys so choose. So I would like to make a motion that we also recognize board member, a former board member, Omega Finney, for her contributions to this board. And now, get a time period, I would be more than happy to take a second.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Okay?
Chair, I've already read it, and I think it's quite honored.
All right, thank you. It has been first and seconded that we recognize Omega Finney for her contributions. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, the motion is therefore carried. The next item on the agenda that was added is that we have a vacant appointee position for the board. It is a appointee position that was created when Omega Finney resigned from the board in July. And based upon Senate Bill 278, it outlines a time period in which that position should be filled. And so we're at a point where this board has to make a decision as in terms of how we would like for things to move forward. We reached out to the county attorney and got the county attorney to weigh in terms of what would be the next steps. And so I would like to give the individuals an opportunity, if you have not read it or haven't had a chance to read it, to look at Senate Bill 278. And it's actually sections. Section 7 that deals with the position. While that is being read, let me just outline for the general public as well, is that Ms. Finney resigned sometime during the month of July. And so if we look at 30 days, we would be in August. And I'm just going to say August the 30th for the sake of simplicity. 60 days would be September the 30th. And then 90 days would be October the 30th. So board members, have you had an opportunity to read the section of the bill that's in question here? So I would like to make a motion that based upon the outlines of Senate Bill 278 and based upon the feedback or advice or opinion of the county attorney, that we move forward and we ask the Board of Commissioners, who's the governing authority for Henry County, to act as outlined in the bill to move forward with appointing an individual to the Board of Elections for Henry County.
Just before you make that announcement, I just want to point out that Section 5 also lays out what happens next. And you are correct, it would be the county board of commissioners that would make.
Okay. So just taking a step back, team, county attorney wants us to also take a look at Section 5 if you have not had an opportunity to do so. Okay. So we have a standing motion on the floor. If it pleases the board, I'll take a second at this time.
I second that motion.
It has been first and seconded that we move forward as outlined by Senate Bill 278 and the advice of the county attorney, that we ask the governing authority, which is the Henry County Board of Henry County Board of Commissioners, to appoint someone to fulfill the open position. Now we're open for discussion.
Chair, do we know the reason that they haven't appointed someone here before? Has there been any discussion about that?
No, not yet.
And that was my question. Has anyone reached out to that party chair to ask them, given that it's just post 10 days since the 90 days? And we've had elections, we've had major things going on. And so not knowing if anyone has reached out, Madam Director or Chair has reached out to that party chair to find out definitively why that appointment has not taken place. I would love to hear from that party in terms of what is the delay and why has there been a delay.
And I, as chair, based upon discussions that was done in the leadership meeting with the vice chair, county attorney, and the director, I did have a conversation with the chair of the Democratic Party. At that time, he stated that they were working on it. We had the discussion here at this particular office on the day that he visited. Since then, and based upon timelines and different things of that nature, there was communication that was sent to the chair of the Democratic Party, and it copied the leadership team of the Board of Elections, advising the chair of the Democratic Party that this board would be meeting today at 1 o'clock, and this item could, and I say could, come on the agenda because I, as chair, on an existing published agenda, can't arbitrarily add anything. It has to be voted on and added by the board. So the answer to the question, whether there was any contact, yes. As in terms of what was said, what was shared is there were efforts to obtain the best qualified person for the role.
And did we find a deadline? Did they give you any feedback on that? I'm just curious.
I did.
I wanted to do due process and due diligence. You've counted the 30 days from vacancy to July, the 30 days from vacancy to October, and we're just into the 10th of November. So I just want to make sure that we give due diligence and fairness to make sure that we are covering everything. I know it is past the 90 days, but I just wanted to be certain, given that there have been so many things, particularly with this election going on in this county, and the fact that the Democratic Party just recently elected a statewide chair who's also acclimating to the position and also making changes. So I'm not certain if those changes are affecting what's happening at the different county levels. I was just asking for clarity, not being in that executive meeting with everyone and not being privy to the information that you all had until this very moment. This is why I have asked those questions and brought them up for discussion. Thank you, Chair.
You're more than welcome. So in terms of what Senate Bill 278 states, Senate Bill 278 states that the party in question, which in this case is the Democratic Party, has 60 days from the time of the vacancy. That is not a timeline that I created. That was created when the bill was written in 2006. The conversation that I had with the chair of the Democratic Party was within that 60-day period. So the email communication that I sent on Friday, as I said before, that was just a courtesy email. Based upon what the bill says and what the interpretation is from the county attorney, is that this board should have acted in October to ask the county to fill the job, because what it says in the bill is that the party has 60 days, then the governing authority has 30 days. It does not say 90. So it's we are acting now because we didn't do it when we met in October. And so we should be definitely discussing it in November. And that's what predicates the time. It is not me. It's what's written in the bill. I even reached out to the county attorney and asked the county attorney to ensure that we had the right code, the right legislation, and everything to make an informed decision. And that was done during the month of October.
Thank you, Chair, for that explanation. And as your nonpartisan member of the board, it is my role to be due diligent to either party in terms of asking questions and make sure that there's fairness across all parties. So I thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Chair, I just want to clarify, in section 5 for vacancy, it's 90 days to vote vacancy.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, not the 60. So, but as you stated, we are still past the 90 days, so
Correct.
October would have been the appropriate time to bring a motion to have the Board of Commissioners build a
Thank you for that correction.
So my question would be for you and the lawyer, if this is a law, then why do we need to even vote on it?
From my understanding is that we have to ask the Board of Commissioners to do what we want them to do based upon law. Just similar, just as an example, matter that we took forth before this was the recognition of board members. While there's been discussion, the bylaw said that we had to actually vote on it. So that's the reason why we voted on it. So I'm looking at it from a procedural perspective, but I defer to the county attorney as in terms of what should occur to notify the Board of Commissioners.
Yes, Chair, so either we can notify them or you guys can notify them, but she's correct, we don't technically have to vote on it
Okay.
at this meeting because it is it's the law, so someone just has to bring it to their attention that this has occurred and that, from my understanding, they are already aware that this vacancy has not been filled, so you don't have to vote on it, but we just notify them at the next PLC and they'll have to take over from there.
Okay.
Good.
So based upon that, I withdraw my motion. Any additional discussion?
Any more discussion from him?
Okay. Thank you.
I would just like to say that we've done our due diligence. You've done everything that you could to speak to the party, and it's time that we make the recommendation to the county Board of Commissioners now. So we're right on time, right on schedule.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, Madam Secretary, let's just make sure that we document that in the notes, in our minutes, appropriately, because we did not vote, but it is time for that to be made, that decision to be made. All right, thank you. So at this time, we'll turn it over for public comments. Madam Secretary, do we have anyone sign up?
We have two public comments.
All right.
First is Mr. Uriah, and then second is Mr. Ruth. Mr. Dyer and Mr. Ruth. Mr. Ruth, how do you say your last name? Mr. Ruth, how do you say your last name?
Cohen, C-O-H-E-N.
Oh, okay.
All right, Ms. Dyer and Ms. Cohen, let me please just read over the requirements for the public comments. We ask that you please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Address the board, not individuals. To be professionals, make no threats, use profanity or abuse. Keep topics relevant, please. The board will not respond during your comments, but we will review all input. Should you have any written comments, we ask that you please provide those to the secretary for the records, and the board will have those. If you stay behind, if you have time, generally the board is more than willing to talk about any matters that you may have brought up. So Ms. Dyer, when Madam Secretary says you're ready, you can go ahead.
Ready?
Good afternoon, I'm Sarita Dyer with Board Protection from the Democratic Party of Georgia. I just wanted to add a few comments and a statement, recommendation. One comment I want to do is definitely give accolades to the ballot consolidation that Director Phillips did for the municipality. I thought that was outstanding, and it was a very important incentive, I think, that you had, which contributed to the larger turnout in the municipality races. Because before, they would have to go to the city, then go over to another precinct. So I think that convenience was a very great introduction, and it was greatly appreciated. Secondly, at the pre-certification, I talked about the voter workshop one-on-one. Just want to clarify that this would not be a burden that we would want to put on the staff, because you all have a lot to do, as well as the big elections getting ready to come up. So this is something that we thought of, and part of my certifications before, when I was in the military, I was instructor, writer certified. So what I would do, along with some nonpartisan teams, like some of the Deltas and the AKAs and the other, as well as some other non-partisan organizations, is we would write something for about 90 minutes, an hour class, and that we would do, only thing we would ask for is the board provide us the resources, and that we would want to use this room as a community room. And I've already started reaching out to some people, and they're very excited to contribute to that. Of course, you all will have oversight. Secondly, the precinct turnout by precinct, excellent tool that could be used if you can post that somewhere for former candidates or anybody interested, that when they run, they'll know where their strengths and weaknesses are, where their voter turnouts are. That could be somewhere placed on the website. And finally, I just have some concerns of the last new item you just announced. If the public know how this appointee will be done, will it be another Democrat, will it be nonpartisan, how the outreach will go, because we feel as Democrats, we just lost our voice. And is there any other way that you can show full resource that you reached out and did all measures to replace this position and took this position away from the Democratic Party of Henry County? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dyer. Ms. Cohen? And Ms. Cohen, we appreciate you coming out today. We understand that it's your first time.
Yes, sir.
So the secretary is actually going to be the timekeeper.
Okay.
So she will let you know
won't be
when
long,
you,
that
okay,
won't.
all right.
My name is Ruth Cohen, and I live in City Square. I've not been involved, and I know my daughter told me that the local elections are more important to me than the national elections. And so I've just started to try to get involved. But I have a question. I voted, and a couple of my neighbors said to me that they had different ballots than I did. Now, I understand that for City Square, there may be more than one council person representing them. Is that true? I mean, that's what I've been told. Well, anyway,
We won't respond during
right,
this.
right,
Yeah,
okay. So that's the explanation I was given, and it was okay when I first heard that. It seems like that's a large community, so I can imagine maybe in the back, I don't know how they district it, I'm trying to figure that out. But when I did go to vote, one of my neighbors said to me, the thing that she found very strange is that her husband and herself, who live in the same house, had two different ballots. So I'm questioning, how does that work? And when I went to vote, the young lady that I asked some questions, and she said to me that my neighbor could have a different council person or a different whatever. And so that just seems, I'm a native New Yorker, so it doesn't work quite that way. So I'm trying to figure out, how does it work that my neighbor could have a different council person? That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, board members, that concludes the public comments. Next item is board comments. I'll start with my far left. Board Member Crumley, any comments?
I have none. I'm just very well pleased in the outcomes of everything we've done so far this year.
Board Member Harris,
No comments from the chair. Thank you.
Vice Chair Lee Hawkins.
No comments.
The comments that I made that may have been heard during this pre-certification, and I also echoed at the beginning of this meeting, thank you to all the citizens that went out and vote. We greatly appreciate it. We think that this was a historical election. And in addition, congratulations to all of the candidates, and thank you to the staff for the great work that you did. We are sure that this was only the beginning of what we will see as we move forward. So thank you again. The next item on the agenda is an executive session. We will not have an executive session today, so we'll move on to announcements. The next meeting will be Wednesday, December the 5th at 5 o'clock. It will be a board work session. Immediately following that at 6 o'clock. I'm sorry?
You said the 5th.
Okay, sorry. December the 3rd at 5 o'clock. Thank you. And then immediately after that at 6 o'clock, we will have a board meeting. The meetings will be held here at 1550 South Zach Kenton Parkway in McDonough. At this time, that concludes our board meeting, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved to adjourn.
It has been first and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. And so I make that motion.